It seems like every week there's a new platform, feature, trend, or piece of marketing advice telling businesses they need to be doing more. Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, YouTube, Pinterest, the list just keeps growing. But one of the biggest mistakes we see businesses make is trying to be everywhere at once instead of focusing on where their audience actually is. Today, we're discussing why you don't need to be on every social media platform, how to identify where your audience spends their time, and why focusing your effort often leads to better results.
So one of the things we see is the pressure businesses feel to be everywhere all at once.
Yes.
And the downfall that tends to follow when they do so.
Yeah, and a lot of times they don't even think they should be everywhere, but it's like somebody told them, or they watch some YouTube video, or their niece and nephew are always on TikTok, so should they be on TikTok?
Not even that, also like competitors. Like if you're, for example, construction, you see another top construction company on TikTok, they're like, well, we think we should be on TikTok. And it's like, well, you know, we always have the same questions and same concerns that we'll go into more later in this episode.
Yeah, and it's that FOMO and chasing trends that, you know, if you get caught up in that, you'll kind of never focus on what you're doing because it'll just be chasing after what everybody else is doing.
It's just like cloud chasing, essentially.
Yes, and more platforms doesn't always mean more results. There are a lot of companies that, you know, really pick one or two and they hone in on that, and they're doing better than companies that are on all of them and are kind of stretched too thin.
Yeah, and there's always signs of when you're stretched too thin and your team and budget is also stretched too thin. So one thing I know and always see is just the inconsistency across platforms.
Yes.
So we'll see, you know, your algorithm and your audience is used to 4 posts a week or, you know, 3 videos a week, and now it's reduced and it's spread elsewhere.
Yes.
Or it doesn't really match and it doesn't, and that's where you also see the lack of like results.
Yeah, we have clients that tell us, you know, if I have to pay you per platform to manage, why can't you just put, you know, do everything for Instagram and then just share it everywhere? No. And we're like, that's not going to get you any results, and it's going to look bad.
That's just posting a post.
Yes.
Which, you know, you want the strategy behind it, and that's also just a telltale sign of like you're just clout chasing.
Yeah, we have one client in particular that I think of is they handle their own Instagram, but we do their Facebook and TikTok. And while we can do like similar themes and captions, the content is different because Facebook, we can do like the link. So we can say shop now and show the photos. And then for TikTok, we have to do videos and audio and sounds.
So we really can't just post what we're taking from Facebook to TikTok. It won't work. So, I mean, thankfully with this client, we can transfer the photos. But again, a big thing that we always see is, okay, if you want to be on this platform, what are you going to do to get there? Like providing us with content.
And there's a difference between having a presence and having a strategy.
Yes.
Just because you have a handle, but you haven't posted in, you know, 6 months, then you probably shouldn't be there anymore.
Yeah. Just because a platform exists doesn't mean it deserves your time. Start with your audience, not the platform. So one example that I always think of also is that we see law firms get far more leads on LinkedIn and Facebook versus TikTok. And that's because even though TikTok generates more views, they think they want to be on TikTok. But again, like you want to build a professional networking relationship that you'll find more likely on LinkedIn than TikTok.
Like I have a corporate law group in Chicago, and they're not doing like personal injury. They're doing really like business litigation, and they're working on like large cases for, you know, companies. So they're not going to put videos on TikTok because they don't really need the everyday user.
Yeah.
They need like more the referrals and the bigger business from LinkedIn.
Yes.
And then we also share on their Facebook because they all personally have Facebook within their community. So they'll share some stuff from there. But really for them, they were like, we have no desire to be like a TikTok celebrity. And I was like, don't worry, you don't have
to. You don't have to. And your audience likely isn't there. So it's focused on, you know, what we're doing already.
Yes. I see, you know, on the opposite side, though, I see a lot of divorce lawyers, you know, raking in the money on TikTok because
podcasts and reels.
And they're giving out all the information, and then people can decide whether to work with them or not. But that's a very different case because if people are looking up tips from a divorce attorney, then they probably need it.
Yeah. And also, like you just said, they're also seeking a divorce attorney. So again, that's where TikTok is great for discovery, but do you need it?
Yes. And when businesses come to work with us, one of the first conversations we have when putting together a proposal and a scope of work is really about the audience. Who are we trying to reach? What is the goal? And why are you, going to a social media agency?
So one thing we can cover is how audience behavior differs across different platforms.
Yeah, I mean, when you are talking about audience behavior and driving platform decisions, you think like Instagram, people are not necessarily searching you, but you're popping up because of content or something that you liked and it's coming up because it's in the same field. Whereas like YouTube, people are searching for that answer.
Yes.
And they're searching for, a solution to a problem.
And a video.
Exactly. And that audience behavior goes hand in hand of like, where is your audience? What are they looking for? What is their ideal? A specific client that comes up to mind is Toadbusters. We've been working with them for a while.
A long time.
Yes. And their clientele is pretty unique because it has to be South Florida, East and West South, but East and West in the sense of like you go all the way to Naples and all the way to like Port St. Lucie.
Yes.
But that's it. So we don't have to worry about anywhere else. So first location is important. Then they have to be Toadbusters. They're collecting toads and installing fences for people who have dogs because these toads are poisonous
killing
to dogs. So it doesn't matter if you're a pet lover, but if you don't have a dog, you're really not
It's
our
really
audience.
not, it doesn't value.
So very niche of where these people are. We're trying to find them when they're scrolling to share photos of their dogs and to join Facebook groups.
Share success stories.
Exactly.
And the outcome of the fencing. And then
So we're finding them where they are already, but then also being on YouTube and some of these other things and TikTok because people are searching probably like education of it.
Google My Business is a great one.
Yes, because then people think, is this company legit?
Yes.
Are they actually doing what they say they do? So then the people Google it, and if their Google business is up to date, they see all the posts we're doing, and then they see all those reviews as well, and it's just adding that layer. So that's why for them it's important. Whereas like we have a makeup client, we don't do their Google business because no one is like, let me look at the reviews of the local businesses.
That's where
around.
you should spend and focus on your website and really building a strong website.
And for the makeup client, it's the website, but it's their Instagram and TikTok where their audience is at because those videos and those products are driving purchases to the website.
Yes.
So it's knowing their,
knowing the audience. We're on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube Shorts. We're not even touching Facebook.
No. And it's like our hotel clients too. If you're going to book a hotel or I'm going to book a hotel, I'm not going to LinkedIn to see who the manager of the hotel is if I want to stay there, right?
No.
I'm going to
their
Instagram, their Facebook.
Their Instagram because I just like a feed preview and I can tell within that preview what the vibe is going to be.
Yes. So it's knowing that. It's the decisions behind the audience, where the audience already naturally is, and then where you can really show off your brand.
You're really like tell your story or network if it's on LinkedIn or create an emotion if it's like on Instagram or creating that story.
We also talk a lot about B2B versus B2C on this podcast. And when it comes to B2B, a lot of their sales, and like I had Daniel on the podcast recently, we were talking about education. Business to business, you really want to educate consumers. It's probably a longer sales cycle. It's probably teams.
Touch points.
And it's definitely going to take a while. B2C, business to consumer, you can use education too, but really you got to like hone in on a lot of that is emotion and storytelling.
And lifestyle, that's why we have so many lifestyle content creators on Instagram because they're just showcasing what their day-to-day, and it might include, I'm seeing a lot right now, like as of yesterday, is Meta glasses.
Yes.
So,
they did a hard push.
Hard Meta party. Kylie Jenner is on it with her, doing an UDID with her Meta glasses. But again, it's lifestyle. That's just her being her, just utilizing her products. So
it is such a hard push that I thought there was like some new product because I have the Meta Ray-Bans. I was like, oh no, this is already out. Or like my glasses are still good. Because I was like, what is this push?
What is going on? They're doing hard spending on those glasses, which is very interesting. I feel like something has to be growing or coming. So
So I think them using Instagram though and that visual platform showing all the styles is important.
Again, like really pushing for those lifestyle creators with like some of the top, also like Peggy Goo. I'm just like so fascinated by that right now.
And I think a big question that is going to come out of this, which always comes out of when we talk about platforms, is should I be on TikTok? And I think not every business needs to be on TikTok. TikTok is powerful for discovery, but not every audience is actively searching for solutions there. I know, for example, if I talk about our own agency, Goat Social Media, I'm on there. The podcast is on there, but Goat itself doesn't have an account on TikTok.
Yeah.
People can find out about Goat from me, from the podcast. It's like a leverage and it's like a funnel.
Yeah.
But we don't have to have Goat there because our clients are not necessarily like searching for us there, but the initial conversation can happen there and you can still exist. So you could still have, say you want your company to be part of TikTok, but you don't really want to have a company page. Maybe you have the founder or a spokesperson.
And I know it's something we've done a lot of times before, manage brands and have founder-led TikToks when they, provide us videos. But what I was going to say for Goat not having a TikTok is that you're not looking for clients on TikTok, but maybe like partnerships and networking. So people know you are a business owner and who your business is through your TikTok.
Exactly.
Again,
it still connects.
Yes.
But you don't have to push it hard down people's throats. Yes. I think a lot of clients think like
salesy.
We want to be everywhere. And it's like, is your audience craving that?
And again, like, can you provide the videos and content for that? You can, but like, can other agencies or brands or brand owners do that?
Right. And another hot take too is not every business needs LinkedIn. So some of these local mom and pop restaurants, boutiques, they don't really need to be on LinkedIn. They need to really focus being more on Google Business and Facebook, Instagram, even Yelp.
Yes.
Yeah. If you are like a local pizza shop, you don't really need to network across the country, right? You need to get people around you into the store. You might be so full and so busy that you really can't handle much more business. It's not that you need to like do an event states away. You can't handle that.
Yeah, I know thought leadership is a huge thing on LinkedIn, and not every business or business owner needs to be in that scope or position themselves that way. You can position your expertise and education on Instagram or TikTok, where your audience will find you.
Yes, that's like we have, a lot of real estate clients. And, the real estate clients, for their purpose of LinkedIn, it would be more the commercial side of it.
Yes.
That thrives there. But like, I'm not buying a house because I saw it on LinkedIn.
I don't need to see a job listing.
Exactly. On LinkedIn. Yeah, it has to make sense.
Maybe like a report or something informational about the market, interest rates, etc. But you have to alter the message.
Yeah, you have to know.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's a hot take in the sense of I think people get caught up. And when I say not every business, I don't mean not every individual. I think all individuals, there's a value to having LinkedIn.
Yes.
But I think whether it's a business page or a company page or not, that is going to decide of where your audience is making those purchasing behaviors.
I feel like Toadbusters actually is a great example again for this because they are on TikTok, but also the owner is on LinkedIn sharing her thoughts.
Yeah, we're actually only managing their owner's LinkedIn.
Yes.
Not the company, because it's not, people are not booking the services from LinkedIn.
Yeah, no one's gonna, us as dog owners are not looking for dog solutions on LinkedIn.
Exactly.
But again, she's sharing her expertise. When we share a photo, that's a photo of her on site, we alter it so it's coming from her and sharing, from the owner's point of view, etc.
And more of that is positioning her as just as an expert, which does lead to a lot of local press, a lot of local news segments, which is what we need. Of course, it'd be great for her to be like on Good Morning America, sure, but let's be honest, her clientele only is South Florida, so we don't need her to be everywhere.
But she's already on local news segments, so
that's why I say it's important for her in that sense of reaching the local news and just showing expertise there. And that's enough.
The best platform isn't the newest one. It's the one where your audience is already paying attention.
Yeah, and use analytics. So I think a lot of people forget that every platform, whether you are a social media expert or not, you have access to analytics. You can see the age group of people following you. You can see the job titles if you're on LinkedIn. You can see their demographics. Yes. So you kind of know who is following you in a sense. So then tailor that and then see what's working. If
you could see if carousels are working, videos are working, how first are they watching the whole video, the first couple seconds,
right?
So you can really alter your content as well to your audience. So and there's so much information.
Yeah, and if nobody's there that you want to reach, nobody's searching you, nothing's happening, maybe you just sunset that platform and focus on the ones that are working, put all the energy into those, and you're going to see way better success there.
Yeah.
I know we had a couple clients in the past who've come to us who have bought followers before they worked with us. And that was extremely tough, because if we're looking at their analytics and trying to see if their audience is following them, we had one client where it was like 90% of the men following her, I said were men following her from India. She doesn't do any business in India,
Yes.
right? So that was tough. So that's why I say really get your analytics and really make the decisions based on numbers. And if you are one piece of a large company, you almost can never be told no from your bosses and higher ups when you have data.
Yeah.
It's not just, I feel that we're doing, it's like, no, this is the numbers. This is what I see. And I think this is what we should be doing. People really won't argue fact, but they'll argue opinion.
Yes. You also want to evaluate where engagement, leads, and conversions are actually coming from.
Exactly. And, sometimes the smartest marketing decision isn't adding another platform. It's getting better at the ones you're already using. So like you mentioned, if you see carousels and videos performing and you are in these analytics and you see things working, lean into that. I think a lot of times we have clients come to us who say, yeah, that did so well last month. Well, what can we do next different? And we're like, wait. That
We
did
don't
well.
have to change.
Let's do that again.
Let's not reinvent the wheel.
Yes, let's rinse, repeat, and make it a little different and keep
build
going.
off the momentum. And, what can you do? It takes two of us in
Yes.
this aspect. So what can you provide us? What can you share that we can make another carousel,
Yes.
do another behind
Use
the
what's
scenes?
working.
Yes. And then
It's
you
so
could
funny
even,
to me
you
that-
can even double down on it. So you had
Please
great,
do. Yes.
great results. Those results could double in the following month.
Yes. And it's so funny to me because people really get caught up of like, but what's next?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, this is amazing news. Like,
Although
let's keep doing it.
Things and trends and audience may be ever changing it, but this is working. This is what we don't want to change.
Exactly.
Actually.
And if your audience is telling you what they want, give them more. And I also believe too, inconsistency beats quantity. We talk about this all the time.
Yes.
I feel like we are beating a dead horse by the time we get to all these episodes of the
Episode
podcast.
51.
Yes, but it's true. If you get burnt out because you're trying to put all this stuff on all these platforms, then just pick one or
Yeah.
pick two. Be consistent. Be there every week. Be there every day. Commit to something versus I got to put something on Pinterest, TikTok, LinkedIn, Google Business. I'm exhausted for you.
Also, you may not be exhausted, but your audience may be exhausted,
Yes.
and engagement will show when you see a decrease in just views and all types of I can't
Yeah,
speak.
it's the inconsistency
Yeah.
that shows. It does.
Yeah.
And I think people think, they don't realize people do love a series or they do love consistent things happening. So if it's like part 1, part 2, or last week we talked about, this week we're talking about,
Yes.
it's not repetitive. It's just like, it's very nice to have that consistent, but it feels worse when you're just like throwing out all this stuff. The quantity could be too much.
I've seen that before too. You're just posting a video every day versus like you just said, like wait a week. Builds builds time. Your
Yes.
favorite TV show comes out every Thursday of the week, or that's like how it used to be.
Yes.
Build
And the
that
ones who do that,
suspension.
they're doing well. Like Euphoria season 3 recently
Yes.
ended. Everyone was excited for Sundays.
For Sundays, exactly. So build that suspension and wait, and you don't have to throw it out all at once. If you had great 10 videos, we could space it out between 2 to 3 months, and you
Yes.
have a consistent calendar versus spinning all these videos for the next 12 days and then
Exactly.
blank.
And I
Crickets.
think, focus on quality over volume. Most brands don't fail because they're not on enough platforms. They're failing because they can't maintain the platforms they're already on. We see a lot of times people come to us like, I tried social media and social media sucks.
Yeah.
Or I did social media and it doesn't work for me.
My
And we're
last
like,
agency did nothing.
yes. And we're like, well, what did you do or
Yeah.
what happened? And usually with a quick audit, we can see, what failed or where the cracks are. And a lot of times it's just being stretched too thin.
Yes. Stretched too thin and just like you just said, like not the highest quality that the company can produce or
Yes.
best reflect.
So here's what we'd recommend for brands with limited time and resources, which is usually most of our clients. Of course, it'd be nice to have, unlimited marketing
Unlimited
budget.
funds.
Yeah, but nobody does. Everyone has a budget. So I think the first thing is to build a strategy that your team can realistically maintain for months and quarters, not just what can we do the next week.
Yeah, I know. And one of our favorite strategies I've been working on is with labor finders, and we build a strategy for each quarter. And then with each quarter, each month has a focus.
Yes.
So it's something that our whole team can follow and focused and really just prioritize of the month. And really, we have so much content, but how are we mixing it? So this way it's like
Yes.
organized, it's cohesive, it's one story, and then the next month we move to a different topic, but still the same tagline.
Within that quarter. And then
Yeah.
even within the year, we have a lot of themes that stay too, like
Yeah.
some user generated content.
Yeah.
And it
interviews
does
that follow through, but alter to different industry or different touch points. So
Yes.
this is something that we can follow for the whole month versus scrambling like, oh, we need 4 videos. Oh, we only got 2.
Yes,
You
it
know.
keeps them honest with us as well, of the sense of like, what can they realistically give us?
Yes.
And then it keeps us on track with them. So I love that.
Also
It's a great
for
example.
planning,
And it kind of leads to this next part of focus on repeatable systems instead of constant content emergencies. We have clients that always are in like
Urgent.
Yes. And we try to pull them back of what can we talk about? What's the system? Do we have, every month testimonials, videos, photos, yada, yada. And then do we have room for some of these new things? That's the better way to do it than every day have a panic about what to post.
Yeah.
Which also leads to what we talked about before.
Creating content pillars to simplify planning.
Yes.
Or, buckets that we can pull
Yes.
from and create a cohesive calendar that, if you plan out, you're going to have a consistent schedule as well.
Exactly.
Of 3 to 4 times a week or more. So again, rather versus scrambling for day of or week of content.
Yes, we have a newer commercial real estate client, and I basically simplified their whole strategy because they had a lot of stuff going on. I said, let's bring it down to 4 buckets. 4 buckets. One is listings. One is their team. One is what's trending. And then one is like, holidays, the fluff, the miscellaneous. Based off that, we already seen such a big difference because listings were just, one after the next, we were losing people.
It was like overwhelming.
People want to know also who they are. And then people like that, like I said, what's like trending, people want to know the expertise of like, this is all the rage in office buildings right now. Or like, this is what we see working. People want to have the expertise.
This is what's going on in this location.
Yes. And then the miscellaneous is just fun room for like, they're in Miami, so we talked all about the World Cup.
Yeah.
Events going on. Like there's nice ways to interweave that. And now it's fun and exciting, their social media, and not just so corporate and, kind of stiff.
And then we can always, push back content. Another example I have is for our makeup client, and we're getting a lot of UGC. So we're pushing back that,
Evergreen
content. Not that it's like filler, not important, but this UGC, we want to hop on
It's
the
fresh.
engagement.
Yes.
Versus, a product that's already been launched. It's a new product. So we didn't expect this content. So it's great. And again, we can just push it back. That's
Exactly.
not a problem.
And when you have all of these practices in place, then you have a great problem of, wow, we have so much content.
Too much
and
content.
Not scrambling.
Yeah.
And that's where we get our clients to be. And when they trust us and they really like lean into that, they end up feeling good. Sometimes they even feel like, what more can I give you?
What a relief.
Yeah, they're like,
they're
oh, do you need anything else?
And they have their leeway to create more content.
Yes. And then really establish the workflow for creation, approval, posting, and reporting. Just like you would anything in your job, everything has to have a process of what you're doing. And if you have that in place, it's not going to feel so chaotic. And then if you're focusing on only a few platforms, then it's not too much back and forth of the approval and going back. And it's not too like either mundane either.
Platform priorities for different types of organizations. So if, like we said, TikTok is great for discovery.
Yes.
But how are you on that platform giving us, like I said, like being part of the discovery flow of
Exactly.
TikTok,
Exactly. And repurposing content instead of constantly creating new content. We do that a lot for a lot of our clients. If they already have existing videos, existing podcasts, if they have, articles and blogs, repurpose.
Webinars.
And you don't have to burn yourself out, and you're focusing on those platforms that, matter. And then you repurpose that content and you're not, you're really not recreating the wheel.
Common mistakes brands make when they're trying too much.
It's like we've said, they try to do so much that they cut corners. They try to put the same post everywhere. They're missing key optimization, items like a link or a hashtag or a keyword, or we just start to see the quality go down.
It's just, boring and
Or
redundant.
spelling errors. I see a lot of brands just get like sloppy.
Yeah.
And then, build a sustainable social media strategy, like we said. Make it something that you can maintain ongoing, not just for a month when you are bored.
Consistency on 2 platforms will always outperform inconsistency on 6.
Definitely. And at the end of the day, successful social media marketing isn't about being everywhere. It's about being intentional. The brands that win aren't necessarily the ones posting on the most platforms. They're the ones showing up consistently where their audience already is.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of You Heard It Here. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share episode with a business owner or marketer who needs to hear it.